Okay. Ready? Sound up? Okay. We're ready. Put this one on. Hey! We're back. We're back. Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is a happy crowd. I like this. I love that smell that was coming in through the walls earlier. I don't know what that was. It smelled kind of like a skunk, but it was really good. Yeah, a happy skunk. Yeah. Well, first of all, my name is J.D. Miller. I'm the co-founder of, Samuel Lynne Galleries. Let's get. That's our wireless mic. It likes to be turned on. Hey, Owen, will you turn down one until we're ready? Okay, anyway, yes. Anyway, I love this business. I started as a musician as well, but eventually I found my calling was as a painter. I'm an artist and later was able to found this gallery, and now we have 5 galleries around the country. But once in a while, we have the opportunity to do something really different, really special. And the gentleman that I'm getting ready to bring up, all of you guys know, he's pretty amazing. And most of us know him as a musician and a star of Incubus. But he, as you can see, I don't know if you had a chance to check out his work, but he is equally gifted as a visual artist and a painter. So we were fortunate to meet in 2017 at the LA Art Show, and we hit it off. In 2018, we did our first show with Brandon, and then in 2020, we had his second show scheduled to be done in March. And then I can't remember what happened, but for some reason, we had to cancel that show. Now, 4 years later, it's March 2024, here we are again. And so Brandon put together this amazing show, and he agreed to come in person. And what we're going to do, I'm going to start this show talking to him a little bit about his experiences, and then we're going to open it up to you guys, okay, to do some question and answers. So with that said, can we give this man a big Dallas welcome for Mr.
Thank you.
Welcome, brother.
Hi, everyone.
All right. Now, can you guys hear okay? We can probably turn it up a little bit now since we got a full house.
Can you hear me? Yes.
There he is. He's going to bust out in the song first, so let's wait for that. Yeah. So.
No.
Man, we're not going to do one. We rehearsed before we went up.
I don't know about us beatboxing up here.
Yeah. So Brandon, we've gotten to know each other over the last 6 years or so, and truly, I tell this story, but when I started as a painter 25 years ago, I finally gave up on being a rock star and realized that painting was my gift, but I wound up painting 7 days a week, like nonstop, and it was the same time that Incubus's album came out with Drive and Pardon Me and all those great songs. And I don't know if you guys remember cassette tapes. You ever seen one? And I literally, over the next 2 years, I don't know why that album just resonated so well, but I literally wore the cassette tape out. And so fast forward, we meet in LA, and I find out he's an equally amazing artist. And that's when we got together and did his first show. Mm-hmm. So Brandon, let's start off. I'll start by asking you, is there any difference between being a musical artist and a visual artist?
I didn't have to warm up and stretch before I came out here today.
Yeah.
It's probably the first big difference.
That's a good one.
Before I go on stage, I like to be quiet for, I don't know, sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes an hour, and I'll just sit there and stretch and kind of hum, just to kind of tell my body that I'm about to put you through something, you know.
Yeah.
We're in this together, that kind of thing. But like painting is something that happens, as you know, it happens in quiet, and maybe, or you play music that you want to listen to, or you're listening to your phone ringing, or
Yeah.
I have this inspiring idea right now. Call me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean there are obvious differences, but I think that the main thing about it is that, at least as far as I can tell in my experience with it, is that the two things are remarkably similar, at least in the feelings that are attached in the experience of making songs and painting pictures or drawing. We were talking about it a little bit last night, but it's this feeling of you're in this process and you're deeply enamored of it. You're in love with it, and it calls you back continually. And so whether it's writing songs or painting pictures, there's something that since I can remember, I've been fascinated by it. And so I hope to keep doing it for as long as possible, you know.
Well, yeah, and didn't you start drawing at a really young age? How did you get started, you know, with doing your visual part?
Probably the same way that anybody starts drawing. I think children are naturally creative. Children you just put paints or crayons in front of them, and they're going to be like, you know, they're going to start drawing red rum and things. And that's how I got my start. Where is he now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. I'm not going to try and beat that. Yeah.
Well, I think we had a little preview for our collectors last night, but one of the things we talked about is that they really do come from the same source, whether it's art or music. I mean, we're fortunate. I think we have a similar experience. It's a meditative, almost a spiritual experience. But the big difference that I found is between, if you're in music, you work with a band. And so you have all the different personalities and talents and egos, but as a visual artist, you tend to work more solo.
Yeah.
Have you found a difference between those two genres?
That is a good point of difference. Music for me has always been deeply collaborative. I make music on my own, but it sounds very different than when I make music with the guys, now Girl and Incubus. We come from, I grew up with most of them, and we share a lot in common around our tastes in music, but we disagree vehemently a lot about music. It's like this constant conversation that we're having, and that's kind of what makes it interesting. So we put our heads together. A lot of the process is fun, and you're in that love space, but a lot of the time too, you're like, not like that, oh, like you killed it, you know, you ruined it, try it like this, and then they're saying that to me, and it's this kind of, it's a robust debate about how it should be, you know?
Yeah.
And so the result in this case is like Incubus songs. They don't sound like any one of us. Painting is quiet. Painting is like, this is how I wanted it to look. There were no other cooks in the kitchen, for better or worse.
Yeah.
It would be fun. Actually, I have done collaborative things with other artists in the past. One of my oldest friends is a photographer named Brian Bowen-Smith. Hi, Brian, if you're watching. He was the first photographer to come out on tour with us back in the day. And he's an amazing photographer. That's his career, but he shoots things sometimes that I feel compelled to paint on. So sometimes we work together in that capacity. And the result is something unique, you know, and different. So that's kind of fun. I'm interested in that too.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So starting out with Incubus, that was, when it really took off, that was like right at the end of the 1990s, right? Right around 99, 2000.
Yeah.
When you started going on the road, were you able to take your art with you? I mean, is that something that you were able to take as you traveled?
Yes. I am almost never without a sketchbook. I've been doing that since I can remember as well. So going on tour for the first time, like we would get in a 15-passenger van. Hi, guys. And we attached a trailer to the back of it. We put the gear in the trailer, and then we took out one of the seats in the back, and that's where we would sleep. We would trade shifts driving. Ah, the glory. But when we would stop, I always had my sketchbook in hand, and I would sketch the guys in the band, people I would meet. You meet amazing people at truck stops. Might go without saying, but it's worth repeating.
Especially at like 3 a.m.
Especially at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But yeah, it's something that's always been with me. And so still to this day, I actually paint quite a lot on the road. For me, it's been a way of grounding the experience, because being on tour constantly is of a relative chaos. And you're looking for ways to make home out of wherever you stop, even in just tiny ways. So there have been other things that I've taken on as well, but drawing and painting has been a constant for sure.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about your influences in your painting. I read the other day where Aubrey Beardsley
Yeah.
is you said he's your famous or your favorite artist. It was
One
huge
of, yeah.
one of.
Yeah.
But I hadn't heard of him, so I went online. You guys should check it out. Aubrey Beardsley.
He's right here.
Yeah. But I
Say
can
hi,
see. I could.
Cursed into my wrist forever. I'm not sorry. He's like, help me.
And he is right there, right? You have your tattoo?
This whole arm, I wasn't going to do his portrait, but my friend Nico, who did the tattoo, he convinced me. He's like, let me do his portrait.
Man, that's brave. I'll tell you what, that's a real influence. But one of the things that struck me was his sense of line.
Yeah.
And it was that, kind of, because a lot of your work, if you look at it, you do a lot of line work. And did that come from him, or did that just come from another source?
I think I was always doing the kind of excessive line work, for lack of a better way of describing it. But then I started discovering artists as a young man who were kind of pointing in that direction as well. And so it was Aubrey Beardsley, it was Egon Schiele, Gustav Klimt. So a lot of these people from that period of time, whether it was in the Austrian school or the English school, there was something that just spoke to me.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the 60s and 70s concert poster art from the San Francisco music scene, Grateful Dead, Big Brother Holding Company. You remember those old amazing concert posters that Rick Griffin, Stanley Mouse used to draw? You guys haven't seen this stuff? Rick Griffin, Stanley Mouse, among other artists, helped kind of define the aesthetic of this era. And they were deeply influenced by Alfonso Mucha, Egon Schiele, these graphic artists from 100 years before. And so as a kid, that stuff spoke to me.
Yeah, and now that you say it, I can see it in those posters.
Yeah.
That was an amazing time period, wasn't it? The early Grateful Dead.
I mean, I was not alive yet, but I would assume...
I'm sorry to say. Or glad to say, I'm still here.
Well, we've talked, just in the past couple of days, we've been discovering that we both enjoy the Grateful Dead and that whole era, and I got to see 5 or 6 shows before Jerry passed away, so it was a big influence on my life as a teenager, for sure.
Yeah, and you were saying you got to see the last show before Jerry passed, right?
That was my understanding. It was a Jerry Garcia band show in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he passed shortly thereafter.
Musically, going to the music side, was that was their music an influence at all, or was it just the vibe?
It probably was, but I don't know if I could even pick it out in the music that we make, but I think it was maybe more than anything. Even though I love the music, I was also listening to Slayer when I was listening to the Grateful Dead, and everything in between.
Okay.
And what's wild is that people in that period of the 90s, like early, mid-90s, were still kind of like, I'm into punk and that's it, or I'm only into rock, or I'm only into country, or I'm only into the Dead. And one of the things that Michael and Jose from Incubus and I had in common growing up is that we were just assuming that everybody was fascinated with all music all the time. So we loved hip-hop, we loved thrash metal, we loved punk, we loved hardcore, we loved Fish, we were like into obscure jazz records we could find. And so we were just absorbing all of it. And I actually listened to early recordings of us, and you can kind of tell. It's like throwing spaghetti at a wall. New song.
Yeah. It looks like it's stuck pretty well.
So
That's good.
yeah.
So
People like spaghetti,
yeah.
right? Obviously. It's like expensive spaghetti. I can touch the paintings.
I can too.
That's a gallery idea I have. It's like and your painting would be perfect for it.
Yeah.
JD's work is all in this back room here, and you want to touch your work.
Yeah.
When you're not looking and touching your work,
That's okay.
that should be a gallery thing where it's like you go in and there's someone standing with you to make sure you behave. And you
Yeah.
go and you just like rub your face.
Well, yeah. So, I had a mentor. When I started painting, she was 87 years old, and she taught me a lot. Changed my life, really. But when she came to my first show, she walked up and she said, "I just want to lick it."
Did she?
Yeah, she did. She was a firecracker, too.
We're sending a terrible message to the world right now. But this is an idea,
Yeah.
Would you guys be into that? Yeah. If there was a way to make it like sanitary,
Yeah.
maybe there's like yeah. Like what did you say? There's snot berries. There's like snot berries. Yeah.
I think you just planted a seed. That's good.
Let's do this. It'll be a collaborative effort.
So speaking of collaboration, your Moonlight Art Collective. So just, you guys, I want him to tell us what that is. But if you look on the back wall there, you see those 5 beautiful ladies. That's one of the prints that they produced for you. But in that case, you went in each of the bottom of those. Those are hand applied, right?
Yeah.
But tell us about how did Moonlight Art Collective, what is it and how did it come about?
Yeah. So Moonlight Arts Collective was one of many ideas I had when I was locked in my house in California in the early part of the 2020s.
Why? What?
Something happened.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I still can't remember.
So it was the brainchild of some isolation, but I've been doing print releases, as some of you may know, for, over a decade now. And I really liked the idea of making high quality reproductions of some paintings available at like kind of a more accessible place where it was like something everybody could have. If my favorite artists growing up had prints that they had signed, like I would have been super into it growing up. I'm still into it. I collect prints still to this day. So I was doing it and I was having a really good time doing it, and it seemed like the reaction to it was really positive.
Sure.
And so it occurred to me that I knew a bunch of artists who were quietly painting in their houses, and a lot of them were also musicians or actors that a lot of people knew about, people that had like kind of public-facing jobs, so to speak. And so I was like, I should reach out to these people. I've set up a kind of an infrastructure for myself where I know how to do the heavy lifting part of it, and I should see if they'd be interested in doing print releases with me under this moniker, Moonlight Arts Collective. And it's been working. It's been really fun. And it's been really, really fascinating to see how much talent there is from a visual perspective with these people that we know. We know they're creative people, whether it's music or film or photography. And it's like, wait, you paint?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Like, can I have one? You know what I mean? So it just seemed like a really fun idea, and it has been really fun. We've been up and running for 2 years. We've done almost 80 print releases.
It's really cool. It's Moonlight Arts Collective, correct? You guys should check it out online. It really is amazing, some of the people you've pulled together.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Haven't you found that people who are successful, whether it's music or dancing or acting, tend to be creative in more than one discipline?
Even if they don't know it yet.
Even if they don't know it. And a lot of it is just having the opportunity to try it. So it's cool that you're giving these guys an opportunity, because there are a lot of moving parts to actually being able to not just produce it, but being able to make it accessible to people and ordered and get the prints done and the shipping and all that.
Shipping is the big one.
Oh, shipping.
Yeah. Oh, shipping.
Well, shipping, I'll tell you what, you guys. So our big nightmare in the art business is shipping. They're terrible. So Brandon put this whole show together, and all of this work was supposed to be here a week ago Friday, okay? So we can hang it, take our time. Well, guess when it showed up? Yes. Actually, the night before yesterday. It got here Thursday night, and our amazing team, Owen and Dallas, they got it. They had to literally go to the freight dock because Kristen Rivas, our director, just kept hammering them, and Grace, they were all on the phone. And so they went and picked up the artwork, and this entire room was hung yesterday, the day of the show.
Yeah.
So shipping, yeah, it's not our most fun
It
thing.
wasn't my fault, just for the record.
Yeah.
Just want to put that out there.
Darn, Brandon. I mean,
I'm a relatively punctual person.
yeah. No, you were right on it. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. So let's do this because I really want to hear what's on your mind. And we're going to open it up to you. And if we have our wireless mic, Jana, this is Jana with our gallery. See if that thing's working.
Hello?
Yeah, good. Let's start with the first, right here up front. Let's make it easy. If you give her the mic.
Thank you. I am wondering, a lot of great artists throughout history have been known to keep odd hours. And obviously as a musician, that's a given. And I'm wondering, if given the choice when you're not on the road, is your visual art more creatively charged in the day or at night? Like, do you like to create by the sun or the moon?
I love this question.
Yeah.
I have such a sort of profoundly mundane answer for you. I'm a little bit sorry, but I am left to my own devices. I'm like sleeping before 9 o'clock. You don't like that?
Just like that rock and roll musician.
Too disappointed. I love all my life before this one. I've never been that guy. I love sleeping and I wake up early. And I'm the most creatively charged first thing in the morning. For the first 4 or 5 hours. When we're on tour, it's a little bit different because the show starts at 9. But I've never been much of a, I don't know how to put this, never been like a partier, you know? Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I watched so many of my friends over the years literally poison themselves to death in this industry, and there's something really kind of sad about it, but then at a certain point it's predictable. And so I just saw, it's like if you do that happens. And you lose enough friends, you're kind of like, I don't want to do that. I kind of like being here. You know? I also love making music and I like painting, so I'm going to go to sleep. You guys go do your thing. Tell me about it tomorrow. Honestly, don't think that I would have survived the experience so far because there's every temptation in the world, especially when you're on tour, to go do the thing after the thing. But I invest a lot of physical, emotional, intellectual energy into what we do every night. So I want to be as present as possible. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
Morning person?
I'm a morning person. I'm a night owl in the morning, so I'm the same.
Yeah.
Get up at 4 a.m.
Oh, wow. That's different.
Yeah, sure.
You get up at 4 a.m.? Wow. That's impressive. I'm just the opposite.
You cold plunge and stuff too? You have. We were just talking about
We're talking about the benefits of cold plunge, and if you guys ever try it, it's pretty cool. It's intense though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how about another one?
Anybody?
Let's go right, let's keep it in front. We've got time. We'll work way over.
Hi.
So I know that you have done a lot of collaborations, like you said, and I know Jose has done a lot of stuff under even with Moonlight Arts Collective, at least prints, and you kind of did his own thing. But and for Make Yourself Foundation, and with your meet and greets, you guys have done doodling and auctioned off those things. Yeah. But have you ever thought, and I've always just kind of hanging on this idea of the entire band, you kind of mixing your visual art with the band, and you guys having a collaborative release of I contribute a little bit, Kills contributes a little bit, have a meeting of the mind, and this is kind of our artistic child of each piece of us, and then the release. Have you guys thought about that?
Do you mean beyond making music? You mean
beyond
a sort of
like the visual, kind of like this, where you guys make pieces.
Yeah.
Release prints or something foundation, where each of you kind of
you guys are also brilliant, and you guys have these, you know, they have different styles, but
Yeah, yeah.
you guys kind of married those a little bit on, you know, CDs that you guys are releasing, things like that. But I was just curious if the whole band has ever thought about putting a little bit of their flavor on.
It's a wonderful idea. We've done sort of
versions of it. What she's referring to, if some people aren't familiar with it, is we've had a nonprofit called the Make Yourself Foundation. I think we launched it in 2003. And we do meet and greets before our concerts every day, where we fundraise for other nonprofits, and we do grants to other nonprofits. But there's always a table with a cloth on it to make it look like fancy. So it's not just a folding table in front of us, and they put Sharpies down so we can sign, you know, an autograph for people. But they started putting down like this kind of rainbow assortment of Sharpies. So very quickly, the little weird penis drawing started turning into like, it always starts there for some reason. Turned into like the other things, and we will go through months and we'll fill up an entire cloth with like a collective doodle. And it's amazing because it's sort of like an overarching metaphor for our band. It's like, that's what it looks like when we put our heads together. It's an absolute mess, but it's really fun, but it's fun. And so we've auctioned those off for charity in the past. We did something else similar. In 2011, we did 6 nights of live streaming from this gallery in Los Angeles around the release of our record, If Not Now When. And we put up canvases on the walls in the gallery, and we put paint and markers and pencils, and just encouraged everyone that came every night to just draw while we were playing. And those got filled up really quick, and we would sneak in and draw some penises and stuff. And, those became kind of like the cover works for those releases. So things like that, I love. I would love to do more stuff like that. I would like to take it beyond the sort of doodle aspect, you know, into something a little bit more high-minded. So, yeah, thank you for your question.
Cool idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's go
Hi.
over this way, and we'll keep coming.
Hello.
Hi.
Two-part question. One, what kind of rituals get you, or rituals, routines kind of get you in flow state and you know, into the process? And then two, what is your process? Do you start with sketching? Do you have like a process that you go to every time that gets you these?
Thank you. Hello. Starting with the ritual part, I'm sure we all have daily rituals, whether we sort of recognize them as such or not. My day usually just starts with coffee, and I read a little bit, yes. And then caffeine's my drug of choice, has been for forever. And so that usually kicks me into songs, and then I hum my way down to my little studio, which is a yurt, and I open the doors and I let the outside come in. And I rarely know if I'm going to paint or make a song or write a song. I rarely know what it's going to be. And I've spoken about this extensively in the past, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself to anyone that's heard me talk about these things before. But one of the amazing things about giving oneself permission to jump into the creative process is that there are, in a really kind of non-anarchistic way, there are no rules. It's like you create a world where you are you're the king and the population, you're the audience and the performer, and it's just you in there. And so for the wrong person, it might be terrifying. But for the right sort of personality, it's sort of like, whee, you know, you're sliding down rainbows and, you know, riding on the backs of Pegasus, and I don't know what else to say about it. But some of the process will lead me to, like, this wall is it's a lot more sort of figurative, and someone will come into my life who I'm sort of intrigued by the way that they move, or the way the light hits their face or their shoulder or something. And sometimes they're patient enough to sit still for me to sketch them, and I can turn it into something bigger. And then sometimes I'll take a picture and then use the picture as I'll study it and do a longer form piece like that. But most of the things that are in here, I just start moving stuff around. and then the process starts to inform the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, your movement in these remind me of like you moving on stage. I was like, oh, I can see his energy.
Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
the same kind of feeling. So
Right on.
very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's go right behind there, and then I'm gonna jump here to the middle.
Hi.
Hey.
It's an honor to be here. It's my birthday, and you're one of the
Happy
biggest
birthday.
influences right now in my life.
That's
So,
awesome.
I just wanted to know, with music being so important to you, music being so important to me, when you're painting, do you listen to music? I would assume the answer would be yes. But is there something that you go to like regularly, or is there something that you're really super into right now?
I listen to music sometimes when I'm painting, but most of the time I don't.
Oh, really?
Most of the time I like to open the doors to my weird little yurt. And where I live is a very rural part of Los Angeles. It's in the Santa Monica Mountains, and you'd never know you were in LA. You can hear frogs and bugs and birds, and it's like the term I've used before. It's like a biophony, as opposed to the human-created noise I think the term is anthrophony. But it's like a natural symphony that comes pouring in, and it's really, really cool because it creates a secondary soundtrack, and I'm able to concentrate more when there's something kind of playing in the background. So I do listen to music sometimes, but when I do, it's usually atmospheric, like Indian classical, like ragas, or Kewali music, something I don't understand the language, and it's not it's not like Western music, which makes me think in English. You know what I mean? That can sort of get in the way sometimes. But sometimes if it's cold outside or it's raining, I'll just close the doors and be full silent. It's
Full silence.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. It can be a little intimidating, but then you're just there
I can imagine
alone.
that being intimidating. I don't know why that scares me, but it does.
Yeah, which I actually think means that you should try it.
Okay.
Because there's something good on the other side of that intimidation that you're experiencing. And I promise you, it's amazing.
That
Yeah.
sounds awesome. Thank you.
He really wants to ask a question. Or do you have to go to the bathroom?
Or both.
The restrooms are
How are you?
Hey, good.
I'm Andrew. I came here from Cleveland, Ohio.
Right on. Welcome.
Absolutely love circles.
Thanks.
I love the new versions.
Thank you.
Morning View has been so important to me in my life, and I know to your band too. And I just want to know, how has it been revisiting those songs? I mean, when you think of circles, you guys have incorporated some of the remixes that you guys do live.
Yeah.
And how has that process been for you, revisiting those songs and re-recording those songs?
Thank you for the question. Just for a little bit of context, Incubus has been, we re-recorded a record that we wrote and recorded in 2001. So we re-recorded the whole thing again as a sort of creative exercise, and we're sort of putting out singles from it. The second single came out, I think, yesterday, a song called Circles. So as a creative exercise, it was really, really fun. It was really challenging.
Okay.
Most obviously because I won't speak for the other guys in the band because it felt easier for them, but I'm 48 and I think I was 25 when we made that record. And so there's that. We were on the cusp of putting out a live version of the record that we had recorded from a live stream during the pandemic. We went to the Morning View house where we wrote and recorded that album, and we set up our gear in the living room where we wrote and recorded it, and we played the record from front to back. And we had a recording of it that sounded good, and we were going to put that out.
Yep.
And I was really sitting with it, really trying to be as objective as possible. And that tiny part of me that's able to be objective at all about what I do or what we make was just yelling at me. It was like, do better than this. Like go into the studio and actually double, triple down and make this as good as you can possibly make it. And so I convinced the band that was the move. And then, this is sort of a long story, I apologize, but Ben Kenny, who'd been with us for over 20 years, decided to step away from the band. And the amazing human being, Nicole Rowe, who he recommended fill in for him, we asked if she would, before we could even finish the sentence, she was like, "Yay!" Like, she was like, "I'm here." So she played on the record with us.
Okay.
And all that being said, it was really, really fun. It was a really interesting creative challenge to like put yourself back in the mindset 20 plus years ago and then try and make it good, you know? But what's been hard is predictable. The predictable part of it has been challenging. It's the reaction to it. We made something in 2001 that, by whatever grace of circumstance or God or the universe, a lot of people listened to. And a lot of people liked, and a lot of people resonated with it. So in certain ways, it could be argued that it was a little bit of a fool's errand to here it is again, but now, 23 years later, what do you think? Comment section, go. And I made the mistake, like when we first put it, the first song we put out is called Echo. And I made the mistake of looking at the comments.
Oh.
And it was, oh my God, I felt like, you know how there's in The Grinch when his heart grows like 5 sizes and it was like the opposite. I felt like someone like took my heart and like squeezed all the goo out of it. Yeah, right.
We disagree.
We'll go to their houses.
Great. The extra minute and a half is great. We all love it.
I appreciate it. That, by the way, thank you so much. I really wasn't fishing for the compliment. I was trying to just kind of be honest about what the experience has been like. So I got past that desire to read the comments. I learned a long time ago, since the comment section has been a thing conceptually in the world. It wasn't always a thing. And the minute it became a thing, we put out a record called Science in 1997, and then we put out a record called Make Yourself. Thank you.
Make Yourself.
In 1999, and the comment section became a thing somewhere in between. And it was exciting. It was like, oh, we can see what people think about what we're making. People hated it. Or everyone that decided to use the comment section were just dicks. This was immediate. This was an immediate effect of like this early iteration of social sharing. It was like the most vocal jerks in the world are going to be first in line. And so it gave me a really skewed, weird idea about how people felt about our band early on. And so when we put these songs out, I was like, shit, they hate us again. That was my long answer to your question.
Great, thank you very
Thanks,
much,
man.
and good
Thank
luck
you.
with releasing the rest of it. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Jane, yes. Let's go over here. How about
Oh, yeah,
this
right
young
there.
lady? Let's check this side of the room out, see what they got. Here we go.
Hello.
Hi.
So I met you when I was expecting my son, and since he's 6 now, so since then, I read or watched an interview where you said your mom would give you like a creative drawer, and when you would get sick, that's how you would fight like the germs and stuff. Anyway, I do that with him, and it's helped develop a lot of emotional intelligence in my young son.
Really?
Some art, and one of the mediums that you give us your artistry. But I just wondered how you bring symmetry in the chaotic place of your life now, and why you use music as a business, art as a business. Is that still your escape, or do you have something else that you do that calms your mind at the end of a crazy day? Like, what's your thing now, since those two beautiful things that most of us use as therapy are part of your business?
Yeah.
What is your symmetry in chaos?
Congrats. 6 years later. And I love that you heard those talks. And
Shout out to your mom.
yeah. Hi, Mom. I think it's probably a long-held idea that once something becomes commercially successful, it gets sort of like stolen from you. That can't be the thing that still brings you joy. How could it? You're sharing it with so many people. The truth is that it brings me as much, if not more, joy than ever. I made this weird decision when I was a young man that I would, it sounds super high-minded and almost foolish, but like I said to myself when I was a teenager that I would rather be poor and happy. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm going to be an artist. So it still brings me an incredible amount of joy, and it is as much an arrival as it is an escape. It's something. It's both somehow. Like I go someplace, but I also am more present somehow, and it's kind of hard to explain. But there are other things I do. To answer your question, I've been meditating for quite a few decades. I go to sleep early and wake up early. And there's so many modalities that are worth exploring. You know, we were talking about cold plunging earlier. I've done it 2.5 times actually. 2 times successfully, but once in New York City. There's a famous place called Russian Bathhouse.
Oh yeah.
And there's like a men's section and women's section, and they have a cold plunge and like a hot room. And this is the first time I ever tried, and I went into the cold thing, and I got up to like just above my ankles.
Yeah.
I was like, nope.
Nope. Yeah. Been there. Yeah.
Not doing this. I know everyone says this is so good for me. I was like, yeah, there's all kinds of ways and I don't think that making music or making art are necessarily the way. Those are ways that have been wonderful and fascinating for me and continue to be. And I hope to one day teach my future children how wonderful they can be. Yeah.
Well, thank you for inspiring me through all seasons of my life, even into motherhood. So
thank you.
That's
so
wonderful.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, let's go right here. He's ready.
What's your name?
My name is David.
David?
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, very good. Science, Make Yourself, Morning View, they were at a very pivotal time in my life. I was real into metal and stuff. It brought a positivity I really didn't know I needed, but it really changed my life. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love the new stuff, Our Love, etc. I love Date.
Thank you.
Oh my God. What's next, man? What
Time's a wasted.
so much. You've done so much good for this planet that you don't even
Thank
know
you.
about.
Here.
I appreciate it. Let me just.
he didn't have a question. He just
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I can't actually overstate it enough. There's I have a deep gratitude for this.
Yeah.
You see me doing this a lot on stage. You do every night. My God. Germs be damned. Come to me. What's next? Maybe stand up. I'm joking.
Good start. Yeah.
We're actually writing a record right now. Yeah. So far, it's been fast. Like we have, Nicole joined our band, and she's a phenomenal musician. Hi, Nicole, if you're watching. And she's really, I can see it in Mike. I can see it in Jose. I can see it in Chris, and I can feel it in me. She's like, all of a sudden, it's like she's the one that came in and was like, "You guys are cool." Like she's shaking us, like, "Let's do stuff."
Yeah.
So we're doing stuff. Like yeah, exactly.
It's obvious. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Right on.
Let's go.
We required it when we were young. We required it.
And by the way, David, so for those of you, we are broadcasting live on YouTube right now. And if you go to the Samuel Lynne Galleries YouTube channel.
There was a collective.
Yeah. No, but seriously, you can go back and watch this. We're hopefully reaching a lot of people and just, sharing the love. But you get to see yourself.
I love not hiding anymore, man.
Oh, good. Could we have one back over here?
Yeah, I echo David's sentiment, and I'm suddenly forgetting my question since you mentioned we're live on YouTube. But no, I think we all echo his sentiment. I think everyone in here is probably a super fan.
I mean, one of my
Thank you
first
all.
concerts, I was 14, I had to beg my parents for weeks to let me go.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't understand why it was a big deal, and then I get there, and, you're in the crowd, and you start to smell things. And so now,
Did you smell it outside? That wasn't it. It's Dragon Street.
Just another day in downtown Dallas.
yeah, welcome to Dallas, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess the question I'd like to ask you, there's many, but I think the number one would be, what would you say brings you the most joy in life? Consider your dogs. If that's,
I don't know if I could say.
That ring, homie.
Yeah. it's not one thing. There's being alive is such a vast potential of experiences, right? Some of them we can control, most of them we can't. But there are things that we have some modicum of control over, and we can choose who to surround ourselves with most of the time. We can choose what music we want to listen to. We can choose to wake up at 4 a.m. to be creative. Sorry I keep going back to, but that's super inspiring. So yeah, I mean, some of the obvious things, like I truly love writing music. It's really hard. It's never been easy, and I love that about it. There's something about it that is like constantly calling. It's like, you can do better than that. You can do better than that. Painting brings me a great deal of joy. Being around my loved ones is a huge one. Being around my dogs. It's not too simple. Being around dogs. I know a lot of you can relate to this, but like I'm the dude walking down the street, I see a dog, and I'm like, "What's up, dude? Yeah. Should we hang out?" Those kinds of things. I love being outdoors. I love swimming in the ocean. A lot of these things are really simple things. They're really simple pleasures, right? Yeah, I don't spend all my time online, but I'm trying to spend even less time online. I think the virtual world is limitless with potential, but I think we're such sort of complicated little animals, and I don't think we know ourselves well enough to know that we need to get off of the internet more often and go outside and like dance around and play in the dirt, go surfing, play with dogs and stuff. Yeah. Cats too, of course.
Yeah. Second that, yeah. Okay, let's okay, one more on this side.
You saw that? Hi.
My name's Danica. My mom actually inspired me from your music, so thank you for that.
Right
I know
on.
I'm not like old. I'm not old.
Mic drop.
I paint a lot, not as amazing as you, but what's like advice you would give me for being a better painter like you?
Oh. You know, the cool thing about painting is that I've never seen your work yet. It's quite possible that you're far better than either of us already. You could be the next so-and-so, right? I would say that if bending your brush a particular way or pushing the pencil in a particular way gives you a feeling that's undeniable, you know you're doing it right. And so lean into those directions. That's too abstract, I'm sorry, but do you get that feeling when you're painting?
Yeah, I do. I know it's exactly what you mean.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Good.
Thank you.
Lean into that.
And keep doing it. That's the thing. Just you got to do it. Let's go. Okay, he's been really wanting to ask a question. Let's get if we can pass that back to him. That'd be great.
Brandon is just like the rest of the room. We're all super fans.
Thank you.
Love your music.
Thank you.
I could sit here for 30 minutes and talk about your music, but we're here for your art. Myself, my wife, and my daughter, we watch podcast after live show, after interview, your coffees, your teas, your dogs. Everybody in the band, and one that sticks out for me is Jose. I ride bikes, he rides bikes, yada yada. We, our family, we noticed that Jose is very artistic as well. Actually, the whole band is very artistic. But you have stood out from the band to be the artistic finger, if you will. Do you bounce off of Jose, anybody else in this artistry? And then without YouTubing you, have you tagged?
Have I tagged?
Yes.
You mean like written on walls that didn't belong to me?
I'm a very big fan of graffiti and tagging
Right.
walls. I'm going to tag Dallas before I leave. And I live here and I'm from here. So.
Hey, Marcus, can you zoom in on that? In case we get a call later.
As I leave.
Yeah.
Banksy has revealed himself.
Right here.
Thought I recognized your voice. You bring up a great point, and it's there's something to be said for the chemistry of people that you grow up with. Jose is my oldest friend in the world. We met in 4th grade. And we bonded around skating, surfing, and drawing. And then shortly thereafter, music.
Wow.
So he and I have been bouncing off each other forever, for our whole lives. He's a phenomenally talented artist and musician. And I think that it almost goes without saying that we all influence each other. You know, I mean, it does go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. All of us influence each other. We're a communal species, so whether we like it or not, we're impacting each other all of the time. But when you have like a close-knit community of friends and family, I do consider my band to be my family. We're constantly in that chemistry, and it's wonderful. Sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes it's infuriating, but most of the time it's absolutely wonderful. So it's a blessing to have people who are in your life who are also creative and they know that you're not crazy, you just have an idea that you haven't figured out yet.
So this is something that's more driven by yourself and not by, you know, like, hey, Hosey, hey, is this cool?
Hosey. I'm going to use that.
But no, really, I mean, do you ever bounce your ideas off the rest of the guys and then put it to the canvas? Or I've noticed other questions, you know, you seem to be silent and quiet and you're in your own realm and there's a process and I wanted to ask the same, but I've gotten the questions and answers.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, do you ever lean to them and say, hey, you think I should put this out? Or
I haven't, no. No, neither of us do that. We'll share each other's work with each other, but it's like we were saying before, like art is very insular, for better or worse. It's like a process that you're kind of alone with your thoughts. And to answer your original question, I actually to this day have never done any graffiti. I grew up with a lot of people that do and did coming up in Los Angeles. But I never felt comfortable with a spray can. No. You know, I'll use spray techniques with certain things, but it's with like one of those cheap plastic. Yeah, I think what I came to appreciate was there were some people who I grew up around who were phenomenally gifted with spray cans, and some of them became famous graffiti artists. Their name shall remain unstated. But they were so good at it, I always wanted to try and speak with an authentic voice. You know what I mean? And so they were great at that, and I was always better at this other thing. And so I leaned into the other thing.
I think you may be Banksy and do this. That was a real good.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? Let's try to go toward the back here. We'll work a little bit more around. Can we go back over here, Gina? Yes.
Thanks for your questions.
Let's do this young lady first.
I'm Amanda. This is my son. We recently just got 2 weeks ago, got matching tattoos, if not now when.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. You're an inspiration.
Yeah.
So you talk about sharing your artwork and, you know, showing it to the public, but has there ever been something that you just wanted to keep to yourself and you just couldn't let anyone see?
The reason I'm giggling is because someone asked this question last night. We did a smaller version of this last night. And there's actually a painting right there that I was really reluctant to share.
It's the one on the very end to the left there.
There's lovely person there demonstrating it for you. It's it's a painting of my wife Sarah, and there's something really, I don't know, it's not terribly different than some of the other ones, but there's something that really speaks to me because it captured an authentic moment, which I'm always trying to do, right? But that one right there, I was really reluctant to include it, but I really love the painting too, and so I wanted to share it. You know what I mean? Honest? No, yeah. I'm not going down that rabbit hole anymore. Had enough. You know, it's hard to describe. I'm not exactly sure what it is, because I love everything that I'm sharing here, anything that I like sort of put up to share, I have fallen in some version of love with. And so I wouldn't have shared it if I didn't. But there's something about every once in a while one peeks out where I'm like, I think this one's supposed to stay here. I ended up sharing it because I tried to like get out of my own way, you know.
It's very brave.
It is. It is brave. Yeah.
I wonder if she knows that it's here. Can you zoom in on the camera?
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your inspiration to all of us.
Thank you too.
So
Thank you.
cool. I noticed the young lady back there with the beautiful blue hair. We've got to give you a question.
Hi.
Hi.
I love you. You don't have to say it back. Will there be why Fluffy Fox Part 2?
Like a sequel to that book, or like a fourth book?
Or like, yeah, to that one.
Oh, to that one. Gee, sure. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
Part 2, fluffier.
Okay, I'm done.
All right.
That was a great question. Yeah.
Also, the "I love you, you don't have to say it back" would be a great T-shirt. Just saying.
I saw a young man over there. Can we pass the mic to him?
Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask, as an artist, what has been, I guess, one of your biggest, what is an art or medium that you've always wanted to go into but you just haven't yet?
It's funny that you said something white Jesus. I've managed to dodge acting, even growing up in Los Angeles. Last year? Yeah. I got offered this random part on a television series called Reservation Dogs. My first try, besides like acting in music videos, you know, which is not quite the same, but I feel like I lucked out so much because, number one, it was a really, really great cast, an incredible crew, and it's not always that way, I'm learning, on some of these television series or in film and stuff. And so it was just a fun, weird, funny experience. And I lived in Venice Beach for about 13 years. And so I felt like I was sort of just channeling some of the people that I would interact with every day. Like literally people that were like, "I am Jesus," you know, and sort of wild look in their eye. And so it was sort of fun and funny, and I felt like I was playing. And so that's what attracted me to music. It was this feeling where it's like, so this is a playground. It's a different kind of play. It's a jungle gym, but it's one where you sort of draw in majors and minors. This is fun. So, long-winded answer to your question is, I think it would be fun with the right projects to perhaps see where that would lead. I don't know if that's an option for me, you know? Maybe that was the one and only time that happens, but it could be interesting.
I love that for you.
Say what?
I said I love that for you.
Can you, if you are somebody from the industry, I would love to be... My ideal role would be sort of like a bow-wielding Lord of the Rings kind of thing with pointy ears.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. You shall pass.
Why don't we pass the mic over right here with the hat? You. Yeah, yeah.
Lucky hat.
Yeah. Don't be nervous. Sorry.
I wanted to ask you, first of all, I met you a few months ago at Topanga Living Cafe.
Yeah. I remember meeting you.
So, I told you how I experience your energy as incredibly authentic, as I'm sure everybody here can feel that, there's not a real ego to you. And it comes off in your music and your art. And I would just love to know if you've had a moment or a cycle or a season where you did fall asleep to your ego and your success or the outcomes in your work, where, I had an experience where my work got successful very quickly, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm not connecting to my love for it. There was a part of me that was like, fill me, make me feel good about myself.
Yeah.
And something I heard you say really helped me out of that process, about how you said, like, I never want to make it, because the reason I'm doing this is to be in the process. And it really helped me come back to myself of, yeah, I do what I do because I love it and it helps people, not because I need it to give me something. And I'd love to know if you've had an experience through that, or if for some reason you are just like Jesus and you're like, no. What would you say to us, humans who had that or might have had that experience?
Yeah, my mind is just aflutter with all of the potential different answers I could give to you. It's such a cool question because it's something that's constantly relevant, whether it's somebody who's in a public-facing job or someone that has an everyday job. So the quick answer to your question is I absolutely struggle with my ego. What I've tried to do through certain kinds of work, certain types of practices, daily rituals, whatever they are, even if it's waking up at a certain time and having coffee and going outside, is trying to sort of onboard the understanding that ego is a hard-won, evolved thing. It's a trait. We have it, The mistake I think most of us make is that we think that we are identical to our ego, the I that I perceive myself to be. That is actually not my ego in the way that I understand it. Ego is, it's necessary, but you can confuse it's like putting the cart before the horse. You can confuse your identity with your ego. And I think that our identity is something much bigger, much more vast than that. And there's so much more potential there than in the, you're making me feel bad because you hurt my feelings. That's your ego meeting the world, and that's not you. And that's what I truly believe. So it's funny that I find myself in a position where the things that I love to do have garnered attention, because it's like the ultimate food for one's ego. And so therein is this incredible opportunity to, on a daily basis, keep it in check. Every opportunity to go out all night. And you're rad. I am rad. Give me another shot. There's all these things are constantly being be more rad. Do that thing. And you can do that. But similar to what we were saying before, there are predictable outcomes to feeding that thing. You can feed it, and we know where it goes, And so I absolutely have an ego. I got my feelings hurt over ridiculous comments over a song I put out. That's it's stupid, right? That's my ego reacting to it. Mm-hmm. But then it took a day, maybe half a day, and I was like, doesn't really have anything to do with me. Some of the comments were so ridiculous where I was by the time I stopped reading them, I was saying to myself, this is saying more about that person than it's saying about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I decided, I was like, I'm not going to hurt my feelings anymore. I love making music. Screw you, kooks or whatever, Yeah! Did I answer your question at all?
Great job, and I just want to say, everybody I know who loves you and your music and your work like the one thing everybody has in common is like your energy and your frequency and your level of consciousness has supported them and me and us and all of us, like, spiritually.
Amazing.
Like, being a human on this planet, it's a lot. And you have brought such a brilliance to the honoring and the processing of the experience and making it into art, and have helped myself and so many people that I know and love, and I just want to say thank you.
You're so kind. Thank you.
Here, here. Let's keep the mic going this way. The young lady right
I'm going to have a quick cry break. Oh my God. That's a lot. Wow.
Who's
Thank
got
you.
it? Okay, we'll go with one more hat.
I just want to say thanks for coming to Texas to do this. Seen you a number of times here at Dos Equis, and one time you came, I think it was around 2006 for the Light Grenades tour, and you were at the Gypsy 2 in Film. We had this awesome light gloves that had multiple bulbs and beams of light, and you used to do this kind of stuff. And I was just wondering if you still
Have those. They are somewhere. I need to break them back out and have an adventure outside, freak my neighbors out.
I think we love you here in Texas because we're obviously a big family and community type of state. That's a big value for us. And I love you guys because of you and Jose and Mike being friends forever. And that's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Been attracted to bands like that have either biological brothers or best friends. You know, deep roots like that. And so we love you here in Texas, and thank you for doing this here.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
I love Texas.
Let's go right here to this young lady.
While the microphone's traveling, a quick Texas story from today. I was walking down the street. I went to a cafe that was recommended to me. It was very good. And then I saw a sign that said Chuck Norris's birthday celebration on a marquee. That's like, how do I go to that thing? I'd stay up at night for that. I'll wake up at 4. Hi.
I'm Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
All right.
I have a couple pieces of your work. I'm very fortunate to get to see these beautiful pieces that you've done that I got from this gallery.
Right on. Thank you.
I like you. Thank you.
I wish I'd been here last night. But anyway, I know you sort of already answered the question about that you don't necessarily know exactly what you're going to do when you start to create. So my question would be more specifically, one of the many reasons I love these particular pieces are the colors. So my question for you is, even though you may not have known exactly what you were going to start to create when you started these, do you have any type of inspiration for when you choose colors? Like when I look at one of them, I think of the desert. When I think of another one, when I see the other one, I think of the ocean. And those are probably not things that you thought of, but do you ever have like something specifically in mind when you're choosing these colors for these pieces?
It's a really cool question, and there's something that takes place, and I hope I don't get too kind of like woo-woo when I'm trying to describe it. Okay, I'm gonna go woo-woo then. Okay, here we go. Long ago. No, there's something, and maybe actually, where are you here? When you're choosing colors, doesn't it sometimes feel like they're reaching out to you that day? Okay, so that's what it feels like. I like to sort of have everything, all the tools out in front of me, and you could probably speak to this as well. When I say I don't really know where it's going to go, I truly don't. It's more, it's a desire, it's some kind of an urge that pulls me towards a canvas, and the colors sort of reach out from the ether. And it's the same way with songs, like song ideas, melodies, words, they reach out and down. And so I've definitely said this before, but it does bear repeating. I don't think artists are completely responsible for their work. I think we're people who maybe we're sensitive, for lack of a better term, and something, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a form of, maybe it's just consciousness sort of writ large, reaches through and uses your hand. It gets into the miraculous territory really quickly, but I think it does that because it's really hard to describe the process. But you feel like you're doing something right. It feels like you're petting the cat in the right direction. You know what I mean? You know how you know you're petting the cat in the right direction? When it's not scratching your eyes out. Yeah. How about you? Can you pass that mic forward, please?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Alyssa, and I myself like to paint because you have inspired me with songs and artwork, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. That's so cool.
One of my questions too are, whenever you're painting, do you ever get stuck on a painting? And if you do, what do? Do you like stop and go back, or like what happens in that process?
That's a really good question. It happens to everybody. In the worst moments, it's called artist block. I feel like we need a new word for it, though, or a new term. When I experience that, I sometimes will just walk away from it, because sometimes you want to push past that when the inspiration isn't coming, and you want to finish the painting, or you want to keep painting. And sometimes you can't, but sometimes you just go work on another painting that might be speaking to you a little more clearly. But sometimes what I'll do is, if it's not going well, I'll just go right over it. So almost all of these pieces on the wall here, and a bunch of the ones that are like thick colors and abstract, there's like 3 paintings under there.
Oh, yeah.
And what's so beautiful about working with paint is that you can just keep adding and subtracting until it's right. Something happens where you, like, we talked about this a little bit yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah.
You step back and you want to take your hands away from it. You're like, oh, it's done. Look at that. And it's kind of hard to describe, but you know what it feels like when you're finished with a piece, right? Yeah.
My second question for you is if you didn't do art or music or any of the things you're doing now, what do you think you would be doing?
I can answer that. He'd be a stand-up comedian. Sorry.
Playing to the bartender and he's throwing drinks at me. Get off the stage.
Yeah.
No, I would probably be pursuing something where I was allowed to be creatively expressive, and that can look like a lot of different things. You know, I'd probably be outdoors. I'd probably be doing a lot of the same other things that I do on a daily basis too. But I feel blessed every single day that I get to make music, especially make music with my friends, and I get to paint, and that you guys like it. That's the coolest part. It was never expected. In fact, we talked about this a little bit last night, but I have a small piece of me, and this goes to the question about the ego. Like, I have sometimes a default position that assumes that people aren't going to like what I make. And so that is a voice that I try and sort of turn down the volume on as often as possible. But it also lends my experience to a constant state of surprise when people show up and they sing the songs back to us, or they like a painting enough that they want to take it home with them. So I'm filled with gratitude constantly. Yeah.
Amen.
Thanks for your question.
Yeah. Let's go over here to this young lady.
Hi.
I was wondering if there's a story behind your self-portrait painting.
The one that's in the corner over there? Yeah. I did. There's a painting she's referring to. Everyone's backing away from it. It's the one on the far right, kind of greens and pinks and whites.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that was a self-portrait. That's the first one that sold in the show yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
I suppose it's because when I was painting it, I started painting the eyes, and they were sort of looking back at me. I paint eyes a lot. And so the eyes sort of gazed back at me, and I noticed that one of them I was very familiar with for some reason. So it just seemed as if it was some strange self-portrait. Sorry, it's not more exciting.
Makes sense, though. Okay, let's just keep the mic going over there. Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm an art people as well, and I'm curious because it looks like a lot of your works, even the blues, they're very warm toned blues. And you mentioned that a lot of time your process, it just kind of flows through you and you're more like the vessel. So I'm essentially asking, what are your favorite colors? Do you notice?
Are you asking me what my favorite color is? It is such a great question.
So I'm curious, what are your favorite colors, and do they make an appearance in your work?
They do sometimes. There's, not all the time though. There are a couple colors that leap out at me constantly. I love this question. And I don't particularly know why, but I love like a rust orange. Maybe because it reminds me of the fall, maybe because it's just a beautiful color. It just does something to me. I have like pieces of cloth that I've found in different parts of the world where it's like the greatest color. And I found a piece of cloth and took it with me so I could just have it. Not do anything more with it, just so I have that color.
I work at a fabric store, I totally get that.
There you go. Amazing. Colors are, what an amazing thing, right? That we can see, our eyes have evolved to see in a color spectrum. And such a beautiful sort of, I don't know if it's a fluke of evolution, but what an incredible thing that we can see like this vast array of colors. There are some animals that don't see what we see. I can't even imagine what they might be seeing. Aren't dogs supposed to be colorblind or something like that? Fish. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's why they just walk on my paintings at home. We talked about this briefly last night, but literally every single one of the paintings here has dog hair and DNA in it because they don't know what art is, and they're like, cool. I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, we throw that in for no extra charge. So if you get one of the paintings, that's free. Let's pass it back there.
Y'all are so kind for staying and asking all these questions. I hope you're having a good time.
Yes. Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi.
My husband Jake, and before my question, I need to let you know that the new recording of Echo kind of snuck up on me, and that's our wedding song, and I was driving, and I was just like, came along, and then like the drop wasn't happening, and I was like, what the hell? And then it came and it hit me, and it was literally an embodiment of that meme where it's like mind blown.
Yeah, thank you. I like this comment section. You're changing my experience, thank you.
I almost died, but I didn't crash. So my question is, by the way, we're also both weather nerds, we're meteorologists, so my first experience outside of your musical art was white fluffy clouds. My mom got me that for Christmas.
Amazing.
So obviously that work looks a lot different than what we're surrounded by here, and you've had a lot of different experiences. I feel like your art is very sensory, obviously the music being auditory, this visual. When you go to concerts, there's a little olfactory there, and I don't know, we'll talk about later, maybe we taste down the line, but how do you feel that your experiences have transformed your art over time?
Ooh. I think it most certainly has, and I think it is constantly informing the experience, and that maybe is one of the amazing things about art, in a larger sense, is that we're all having mostly the same experience. You know, we're breathing, we're eating, we're sleeping, we're being born, we're dying. It's happening everywhere all at once. But then, in that, there is this like infinite number of possible ways of interpreting that. And so art gives us this incredible way of expressing. It's just like this room with this work is just like, I'm just one little bloop. Like, this is how I experience the world. Bloop. You know, that's the sound literally. So it's everything that I'm experiencing is informing everything that I produce. And that's from the most mundane to potentially the most sacred experiences of my life. It's all in there. We briefly spoke on this last night. We had I forget what the original question was, but I spent so much time touring as a young man. with the guys in the band, we made a conscious decision to tour less than we were. We were on tour like 300 days a year.
Wow.
And we were tripling up in, Motel 6-ish type places and sleeping in the car. And it was in pursuit of this sort of nebulous thing. We didn't even really know what it was we were pursuing, but it just felt like we were heading the cat in the right direction, so to speak. But it was really, really challenging, and I could feel the beginnings of my sensory experience getting kind of like diluted by spending too much time at truck stops and hotel rooms and backstage at clubs. It became about that, and so I wanted to go home, and I wanted to be in a real relationship, and I wanted to be closer to my family and closer to my friends, grow food, cook food, be with my dog, do like actual human things. And those things have informed a much larger experience. And I think that, so all of the goodness is in the most mundane experiences. It's just waiting for you to kind of like recognize it. It's all there, like God is in the details, so to speak. Did I answer your question? Okay.
So Brandon, we have time for about 2 more questions. This is going to be tough. You know what? We haven't gone way in the back. Could you guys pass the microphone back to that?
Can you guys see that I'm sweating?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm going with.
Yes. So here we go. We got one, and then we'll have one more after this.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been listening to you since high school, and of course, those were kind of formative years for me. But well, probably for everybody. But my question is you first. I guess you guys first became famous back in late 90s. But prior to that, if you could tell yourself anything prior to becoming really famous or starting your professional career, what would you tell yourself that you know now that you wish you would have known then that would have made things easier for you going on?
That's a really interesting question. There are so many things. From the most basic, don't read the comments.
Besides not reading the comments, what's,
Yeah. And that's actually an interesting kind of possible overarching metaphor for the experience, because even good feedback has the potential to corrupt the authenticity of what somebody might be trying to make.
Absolutely.
Because you can, that potential has always been there for this band. When we first had a hit single, we were it was shocking, and it was kind of scary, but it was also really exciting, right? And the onslaught of voices from management and record label and producers and things do that thing, do that again. You found success there, repeat. And I don't know why, but from an early age, all of us, almost unspoken, were we did that thing. We did that thing. What else? Let's see what else is there. And so I suppose I don't need my older self to tell my younger self that lesson, because it was something that was sort of built in. We're infinitely curious. We just want to see what else. What other sounds can you make? What other kinds of changes could you do to the song? What other ways could you arrange a song? I suppose I would tell my younger self that didn't have to take everything so seriously. I could go on forever, but I suppose those 2 things are probably a good place to stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we have time for one more. This man with the Dallas hat is just standing out. Can we pass it to him? So you're going to be our final question. And I appreciate everybody that we couldn't get to everyone, but man, some great questions.
This is a very slight trick because I'm going to give this to my girlfriend.
Whoa, the handoff. Hey. Good move.
My name's Kitty.
Hi, Kitty. Is that short for something?
first painting that I got into the Dallas Museum of Art was based off of a quote from White Fluffy Clouds,
Wow.
Intergalactic Garage Sale. And ever since my sisters put that book into my hands, I've clung onto it so tightly. It's been such a huge part of my artistic growth and career. And I guess my question would be, if you could put any book into my hands, other than one that you wrote, what would it be?
Oh, man.
Good final question. Yeah. Good, that's it, yes.
I thought I was sweating before. What a wonderful question. And I'm so appreciative that you liked it, but that you kind of allowed it to be part of your experience in some way. That's so cool.
I wrote a literal book when I was in high school, like a biography about you.
Oh, wow.
It was just, it meant a lot to me.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Wow. I love reading. I've been since I learned to read, I've been reading. But I don't have like a favorite book. I don't collect many things. I collect some art, but I mostly collect books. So it's like, wow, pick a genre. You want nonfiction, fiction?
We'll keep it on topic, just art specific.
Art books. Okay. Wow. This is more tough than I thought it would be. Are you familiar with the artist Egon Schiele?
No.
Okay. Ooh, wonderful. Look into his work. There's a lot of books on his work, but he has been a big inspiration, especially on my figurative stuff. Yeah, Egon. Just think Egon, and then like it's spelled Schiele. Schiele.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. Did you like it?
I loved it.
Cool.
Because when you guys did one of your documentaries, like On the Road, you quoted that a lot in it, and I was like, I have to get this book.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I
What
appreciate this so
do you
much.
guys think? Yes.
The paintings will be up for a month.
A month, yes.
The paintings will be up for a month, so please come back and take them in if you want to invite your friends to come in and look at them.
And do Kristen or anybody at the desk, do we have any of the prints left? I think we're getting close to sellout, but that's one of the things I love that Brandon does is do these amazing prints. It's something that anybody can afford, but we're almost gone, but there may be a few left. And I also want to say, we were talking before we went on, how grateful are you and I to be doing what we do, what we love, and also just to be with people like this, people that, love what we do.
Absolutely. And you guys celebrate Chuck Norris's birthday. I really like it here. I've been saying it for years since we first started coming to Texas to play concerts. It's a very special place. I really dig it.
It really is, though, isn't it? Dallas? Dallas has an amazing energy. And those of you that traveled here, thank you for coming.
Yes.
We invite you to come back anytime. We are all about love, energy, gratitude, the higher vibrations, and you guys embody that. So thank you very much for being here.
Appreciate
all right,
you.
Brandon Boyd.
Thank you.
Brandon, this is